Welcome back, welcome back. We just had to stop for some chores we had to do. We didn't have to do them, but I thought it would be better to do them now than wait until later so I could come and give you my all, give you my everything, just like you deserve. What's going on? What's going on? Screen capture. See if we can't get some things back up here. Hopefully my audio is okay. I had to reset, Esther. I had to reset things. I had to go recheck. I don't know what happened. Something weird with my audio. So I just slipped back in. But I went and made some amazing roast beef sandwiches with Swiss cheese, Dijon mustard on these really good cheese buns. My daughter, you can hear she's eating in the background right now. And I made one for lunch tomorrow. I had one just before I got live. Oh, with some Spanish onion on top. Oh, yeah. It was fantastic. Let me see if I can pop this back up through this. Just give me a second. Trying to flip this, switch this back to where I had it. I should have did that before I went live. It shouldn't be very difficult. I'll bring this up. Not that. Put that up there. I might have to open some different screens here. I think I do. Let me try this. I'm trying to open up a particular screen, but it's not giving me the selection in the background. There it is. It worked. Holy shit. Here we go. We're back. Checking 1, checking 2, checking 3. Hello, hello. What's going on, bird? Oh, Sky Maiden, hello. Good to see you, darling. Sky Maiden. Miss K, hello, hello. Hello, Susan. You know, so before I dropped off, we were talking all about this little statement that Janie made in regards to who we believe to be Kent Corbett. From crazy Kent Corbett's towing and salvage and auto wrecking and collaborating and conspiracy to cover up, accessory after the fact. Oh, he's in deep in all of this. Let me see. You're in deep, so let's pull. Oh, I've got to get up the other one. Excuse me. Let me take that link and I'll put it over here.
I've read a lot of things in the last couple of days where people have pointed out that the fundraising money has gone missing, and where other people have pointed out that one person said that their donation, or the money they spent, which was about $1,000, they really had to fight to get that money back off Kent. So he's not Mr. Perfect Citizen. And we have a shed go up in flames a month after Lily and Jack went missing.
And we have Janie, a known liar at this point in time, sending out a coded thank you to him in front of everybody that she's trying to lie to and fool, mislead. Fantastic work by Ninchi. Fantastic work by everybody who's been calling that scumbag piece of shit walrus-looking mofo out this entire time. You're a dirty, dirty son of a bitch, Kent. Weird pedo-looking dude. Let's see. Where is that timestamp? The timestamp is... Give me one moment, please. So this is from Ninchi's. I call it the car swap theory. She's got a car swap theory in this particular live stream, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to pin that to the top of live chat right as we speak right now. So if you're looking for it in the future, Ninchi, Janie, oh, I shouldn't put it up yet. I should find it. Oh, hold on. I got to do this like this. Ay, 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 ay. Timestamp 2301. So if we go to timestamp 2301, I'll share it out there, put this in my chat, and then that will make me very happy. We'll return to as we were in our previous live stream. If you're joining now and don't know what's up, thank you for tuning back in. As I pin this message, I'm going to hit that button.
When we heard Janie's Facebook audio for the first time, she made this really, really curious comment that has bugged me from the beginning.
And thank you, Ken. You'll know what it's about. I appreciate that. So I'm going to take off now.
Now, when Janie made that comment, at that point in time, Kent was all up in Sunny's chat and even going on panel and talking, and seemed like he might have been a decent guy. People seemed to be quite respectful of him. But, you know, coincidentally,
yeah, if you're into creepy sex offenders,
Durwood did. But I found it really odd that Janie felt the need to go out of her way to thank Kent. Why would she need to do that? Janie's not the sort of person that actually tends to think much of other people. So whatever Kent did must have been something quite significant that helped her out, something that was worth Janie putting away her disdain for the world and actually saying thank you to Kent. So here's the thing, Kent and Durwood both deal in used vehicles. You've seen some of the ads that have been shared recently from Durwood selling vehicles off that are less than what you'd want to get. Vehicles that look like they are complete utter clunkers that would probably fall apart. He heard it.
2301. Well, you're entitled to believe whatever you'd like, of course, but Wade is not a snake in all of this. Wade has been very helpful thus far. In response to your comment there, Cindy Clark, FT8UM. Don't try to attribute Wade in some sort of way to Kent. Wade's a good man, till we have reason to say otherwise. Cindy Clark says, sorry, that was a typo. We salute you, Cindy. You mean Durwood? Okay, yeah, you're right. High five. Wade Durwood. Got them mixed up. Excuse me. No worries, Cindy. No worries. You weren't coming in here looking for a fight, we know. Looking back, Janie just laughs and the boulevard ain't that bad. Silver, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Did I catch Kent on Brooks' panel? You mean at Crimes, Lines, and Lies? Ginger? CLNL? I've already been through it with Brooks in that sense. She's probably playing with him too. Even though that we've had our differences, she still likes to call out bullshit liars in that sense. So I'm sure that it had its intention. What happened on it? Was he spreading the gospel, spreading the good word? Popping down his GoFundMe, popping down his Cash App, his PayPal, his donos, pushing his bracelets, keychains, stickers, shirts, sweaters. $23.01 $21.22 $23.01. Ninchi, tell us what you've put together. Now this is all coming back. You know why this is important is because of this god darn 2301. I'll leave it here and I'll show you. Why is this important? Why is this worth talking about, focusing on? And I know some of you have mentioned how... What the hell happened there? Some of you have mentioned, like Mike was mentioning, how he was a little confused about some of the statements coming by way of Mr. Bradley Wong. Well, listen. Before you dismiss or before you just change your mind in that sense, take a look at this screenshot because it's worth a bit of a delve. Let me flip back and show it. Right there. He's talking about the boss man 1234 highlighted comment when they're trying to get some clarification as to what it meant or further question him on his statements that was reflected in the paperwork. It looks like he's clarifying. The paperwork doesn't have it 100%. I wonder what's up. Did he go and correct the RCMP? Did he update? Because this changes a lot of things. It indicates that there was a switch in vehicles potentially. Boss man, B-man, Brian, Mr. Wong. I meant as in he left his driveway 4 times and came back 4 times. The last time he came back, it was not with the loud vehicle. The last time, the 4th time, the return trip, was not with the vehicle that he heard before. It was unlike the others. Now, where would you have to take all of this fancy stuff, all of these shit boxes? You know, Kent's role in all of this in the background looks a lot more plausible when you know that he's got a big yard of shit boxes there. They have a reason to all be in cahoots and be working together already, and stolen property and then some.
We heard Janie's Facebook audio for the first time. She made this really, really curious comment that has bugged me from the beginning.
And thank you, Ken. You'll know what it's about. I appreciate that. So I'm going to take off now.
Now, when Janie made that comment, at that point in time, Kent was all up in Sonny's chat and even going on panel and talking, and seemed like he might have been a decent guy. People seemed to be quite respectful of him. But, you know, coincidentally, he appeared around the same time that Durwood did. But I found it really odd that Janie felt the need to go out of her way to thank Kent. Why would she need to do that? Janie's not the sort of person that actually tends to think much of other people. So whatever Kent did must have been something quite significant that helped her out, something that was worth Janie putting away her disdain for the world and actually saying thank you to Kent. So here's the thing. Kent and Durwood both deal in used vehicles. You've seen some of the ads that have been shared recently from Durwood selling vehicles off that are less than what you'd want to get. Vehicles that look like they are complete utter clunkers that would probably fall apart the moment you tried to drive them. And we also know that Kent had a scrapyard and a garage. And if you look through his Facebook, you can see that he also used to do a bit of panel beating in that garage. Did Kent or Durwood maybe take Daniel's car and junk it so that it couldn't be examined for evidence? Was there some sort of evidence connected to that car? Why did he need to bring back Earl's vehicle, potentially? Why are we hearing that the vehicle that finally returned to the property early in the morning before the children were reported was a different vehicle from the one that was doing the runs? And why is Daniel avoiding discussing that vehicle? Why is there no sign of that vehicle now? Was it stripped for parts? Or maybe there was another way of getting rid of it. I have to say, sorry, but I do not trust Kent. I've read a lot of things in the last couple of days where people have pointed out that the fundraising money has gone missing.
Y'all ready for that?
And where other people have pointed out that one person said that their donation, or the money they spent, which was about $1,000, they really had to fight to get that money back off Kent. So he's not Mr. Perfect Citizen. And we have a shed go up in flames a month after.
Right. Old Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent. What a fucking douchebag. Sounds like a chop shop to you, Sky Maiden? Absolutely. There's a lot more going on there that has nothing to do with running a law-abiding, honest business. If you were running an honest business and you were an actual mechanic, Kent, you would be pretty busy at this point in time. Mechanics pull their hair out because they're so damn busy. Kent must be a specialty mechanic. He only works on the undercarriages of young children. Who knows? Man. So allegedly, the problem was somebody confronted him at the vigil over this $1,000 that the individual was donating towards, and then decided not to. And the individual had a difficult time regaining those funds. Well, Kent, I'm glad you gave them back, if you did indeed do that. That would be an interesting story to delve into. Please, if you know about the story, let me know in the comments section below.
Lily and Jack went missing.
Contact me
And
via
it contained
email.
customers' vehicles. Allegedly, the business itself wasn't insured and only the customers' vehicles were insured. But if you have a look back through the Facebook page for that business, you can see that in the 36, 48 months leading up to this fire, they seem to be spending a lot of extra money on the business, buying a new hoist for vehicles and selling off the old one. And at one point in time, they're talking about their storage business and saying, look, we haven't got the new building up soon, but we will have it up soon. So there seems to have been a lot of extra money poured into this business prior to this fire. Now maybe that's just a coincidence. But also, Janie thanking Kent. Even if this fire was an accidental fire, what if one of those vehicles in that shed happened to be one that was in need of repairs, or one that needed to be kept out of sight for a while? Pure speculation, of course.
Yeah, not disregarded. That's why I mentioned that, Chelsea. Because you get all kinds of weirdos involved in this sense that want to set a person up in this regards, but regardless, we know Kent's a scumbag. It's just another one that somebody wants to pile on with all of these stories, right? You can even get in control of the narrative with false stories in your own benefit. But you don't need to look into it that much. It's just an allegation. The guy gave the money back, allegedly. Well, that's that then, no matter how you felt about it. I'm glad it turned out well.
But we are starting to see that there are close ties between Durwood, Daniel and Kent. We are starting to see that, in fact, Kent hasn't been quite so virtuous when it comes to the fundraising.
Yeah. So I'm getting that feeling, Chelsea. Chelsea's in my chat and she says the person also, we'll say allegedly in all of this, because we're just getting to learn about this scenario. The person also has a past history into missing children fundraising. So the person, they're just playing the game. They're trying to steal the Kent's moment in that sense. Here's $1,000. Oh, by the way, I want that right back. That way you can legitimately make the announcement that you donated $1,000 and then you turn around. You can do that with super chats too, by the way. That used to be pretty common with super chats. Like you would see enormous super chats and then the person would there used to be a way at least that you could go and get that like right back within a certain amount of time. I'm not sure if it's still a thing or what, but yeah, we're keeping our mind open about that because there's all kinds of little special interest groups in the background that love to play games with one another and steal, have a reason to steal the narrative in the moment like that. And that's a perfect opportunity. Making your coworker look bad while you climb the corporate ladder. Well, that's not a thing, is it? Oh, Jesus. Isn't there a little Cub Scout or a Boy Scout troop that you want to lead there, Kent, in your local area? I'd just top it right off. And if you drove like a Trans Am in that sense, like a 1984 Trans Am. Big old baked beans at the back. Not just that, Ilyanka. There's more to it behind the scenes, is what people are alleging. But it's hard to get away from. It's hard to get away from when you look at things after a little bit of time, and that's what people are noticing. So they're talking about it, of course.
Not exactly the model citizen that he would have us believe. Now, like I said, we can't really, that's all speculation. I'm not going to go any further with that. But the big question here is...
And by the way...
Why...
By the way, Ninchi did a good job reminding people that she's just speculating and this isn't anything. She's just letting it go a little bit and expressing some of the possibilities. You're right, Ginger Snap. This is one, you're right about that. You're going to see a lot of I told you so's, but the point is it's a distraction from what's important. Even though you have to point it out and talk about it every now and then. But it doesn't matter from the person who's at the center of the attention. Explore Core, what are you saying in my chat? Are we having unsatisfied customers? We're having some unsatisfied customers. I wonder if Kent's little business is up on Yelp. Explore Core, Anita Benita, 2107, you are not the only person who has gotten their bracelets or keychains. 6 months later, no excuses. So you guys have been waiting 6 months after donating, and you're still waiting after giving up all of your information to Kent? Is that what you're alleging in my live chat? Heavens to Betsy. Well, we'll put that up on the board. We'll put that down. Ravens. Listen, you get all kinds of creators on here for all different kinds of reasons. The point is if there's somebody that people want to watch or hear from in a tragic situation like this, there'll be a presenter or a content creator that will justify having them up on a live stream interviewing them or over on their channel. The fact that you're wanting to live stream somebody and put anybody, whether they're suspects or not, on the spot at any one point in time tells me that you're prioritizing your own yourself before any of the privacy needs or the respect of the individuals that you're dealing with. I've got a problem with the live stream aspect to that. I much rather prefer an interview away from being put on the spot behind a camera in order to get much more of a natural conversation. But that's just my own preference. I don't have to impose the way that I like to do things on the world. It would seem pretty boring. I often like things that I never thought that I would like, but when it comes to these tragic circumstances, there are certain rules that you need to play by in order to respect the victims. And you can't violate them. There's never an exception. Daniel should have known all of that. See, he wants to constantly convince you to ignore what your senses are telling you in that sense and believe him because this is some sort of exception to logic and common sense. This time, right? And all of these red flags, these indicators, these signs of deception, the biggest ones he wants to use as his alibi. Twist the meaning of the word. Fool you. That's suspect. Geraldo Rivera wouldn't be fooled. What's up, CJ? Yeah, people are already on the Christmas bandwagon. Fuck, I'm Christian, but I'm not that Christian. You know? I'm not that Christian, bro. I love Jesus Christ and he is my savior. But, you know, his birthday's like 6 weeks away. Heaven's sakes, guys. I mean, if you're telling me the markets are going to be pumping, I'd be excited. It's Jesus Christ's birthday. Markets are going to pump. Christians are being slaughtered all around the world as we speak in different places. They're trying to politicize it. What else is new? Explore Core A Balance. I did not order a bracelet keychain, but have seen people in chats telling Kent they are still. You got to be careful about that. But yeah, who knows what's true, Explore Core, in that sense. Maybe they didn't order the. Who knows? I'm not even going to get into that conversation. Thank you for the bit of info, though. There's not any need to make anything up against Kent. The fact that you try to get people in those traps by having them spread disinformation just because you've grown a disdain or a dislike towards an individual. Kent has every reason that he demonstrates why it's weird to question him, to be skeptical. That's not going to change. It doesn't really need to be added to, but if it's actually legit, then it is worth talking about. Not questioning any of you fine folks in my chat. The CBC lady, she should keep scissors in their back pocket. Did you know that they're already black belt in jiu-jitsu? They're ready. They're ready to take the battle to the mat, to the ground. Yeah, Ilyanka, you know it. There's no need to make anything else extra up when it comes to these characters, right? It's easy to get carried away, especially when you're speculating and then all of a sudden you just develop a dislike towards somebody. They've already got all kinds of reasons that why, since the get-go, why, one, if it mattered much, why we like them or not, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be in that position in the first place. We're judging his honesty, their honesty, and it hasn't stood up. There's no way that you can, sit back and logically say that. You could in front of a microphone, in front of a group of people, and that would garner its own attention. And people do here on YouTube. And that goes back into what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Try not to let it bother me because it's just how it goes here on the platform. I try not to judge the person even who's doing it too much, even though it's difficult when you're emotionally attached to certain things. Actually, I've come to like the people that in weird ways. Like, you don't always like the people that you watch on TV, right? You hate watch it, if there's a term for it, but it goes beyond that. It's interesting nonetheless. Is it exploitative? Yes. Do I agree with it? No. And I'm generalizing a little bit, but I think you know where I'm going. There's pros and cons. Right back to Lulu, CJ, and Kitchener. $20 for April Wine and David Wilcox. Yeah, sitting on a riverboat having a party. David Wilcox. Fuck, you're dating your party, man. That's funny. Don't even do that to me in my live chat. Oh man, I got drunk with this girl named Melissa there. We went out on a date. Who was playing? Lulu's was famous for having the world's longest bar, CJ. World's longest bar. We laugh at how cheesy we think those headliners are, but they're good rock bands. You know what I mean? I still love April Wine on the radio. Fuck, you still sing it wrong to April Wine. I love it, but for a different reason. Anyway, who did we go and see there? I got fucking drunk on these White Russians. Back when I used to drink. It never worked out with Melissa, by the way, but it was a good time. Who was playing there? I don't know, but it was a good place. It was a cool place. I wonder what Lulu's is now. That was like Southern Ontario's CBGB's. The Hypnotizing Boogie, Bonnie. David Wilcox. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting scenario.
Getting this story from Brad that the last trip that vehicle made during that night, the vehicle was left somewhere and a different vehicle returned to the property. And then we see this article.
Stop teasing my brain, Ilyanka. Ilyanka says, "Oh God, AB, I had to be the cocktail waitress for one of their backstage shows once." Yike! You're a cocktail waitress at a backstage show for a rock concert? Oh my God! Well, it turned into The Honest Lawyer, CJ. Maybe you're right. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in over 10 years now. Thank you. You want to talk about going crazy? You want to talk about silly? I was actually born in Kitchener, Explore Corps. I'm not from there. I was born there. But I'm in London now.
In the Globe and Mail in August, talking about Daniel's car being at Earl's place because he couldn't afford the repairs. And more importantly, or perhaps just as importantly at least, you have him becoming extremely anxious and suddenly having to butt in and talk loudly over the top of this turkey guy.
Okay, then. All right, you were talking about you're from Cambridge. I actually worked in Cambridge at Allen Bradley for a long time, CJ. But what is the nudie bar just outside Cambridge, out in the country, in the middle of nowhere? The nudies. Hey, shout out London, Sheila. Or what did it used to be called?
The moment this turkey guy happened to mention the connection between these
other way.
items that were found,
Towards
the
Woodstock.
blanket and, well, not items, but the blanket and the boot print, pointing towards his uncle's place. And we know his uncle's place is
You're
right next
thinking
door
about
to
the
his
manor.
father's place. Daniel did not answer that question when it was brought up. Instead, he got super defensive and said he's never seen the location of the footprint in real life. And he's never seen the actual blanket hanging in the tree. But he was stuttering his way through that. He couldn't even get his words out all that clearly. He was aggravated. This one time when he becomes so aggravated,
Yeah, so she's talking about Daniel being aggravated. Mimi195, thank you very much for the gifting membership. That's very generous, darling. She mentions this theory of hers. Now, hold on for a second. So the explanation step by step of this car claim, I want to skip ahead to this timestamp. For the timeline she builds, this is Ninchi. At 12:30 a.m. to 4 a.m., there's a loud car shuttling between 1407 Garlock and somewhere. Earl's, the pipeline, a burn site. Hey, Kent. Final trip back is with a car that isn't as loud, and the loud car is left off property. Daniel drives Earl's vehicle home, so the loud car is gone before sunrise. Why swap cars? Could have been evidence inside, like blood, fibers, kids' DNA. The loud exhaust equals easily recognized by neighbors. Needed it off 1407 before the daylight searches. What happened to the car later? Which is, she admits, pure speculation, but she lays it out nonetheless. So, conceptualize Daniel suddenly getting this new truck and it being towed from the property. Kent, who's Durwood's associate, owns a scrapyard in this panel shop, chop shop. A month later, Kent's shed burns down with customers' cars inside. Janie publicly thanks Kent in an audio. Whatever he did, Ninchi's saying, is huge. The theory is Kent crushed or stripped or burned Daniel's sedan, maybe for insurance cash, maybe because there was some sort of incriminating evidence in it, Who knows? But that was worthy of the shout out. Now the Daniel freak out on Daniel Turkey's show. The second the host says blanket, this is Daniel Turkey, and the boot print leading towards your uncle's house, Daniel was long blinking with his lizard tongue, shouting over the host, stuttering about never seeing the blanket, never actually seeing the footprint, which is a classic stress leak, she's arguing.
He has to butt in and talk over the person who is interviewing him and do that loudly. And then he stutters through his response and he doesn't address what is being asked. He did not address the possibility of those things pointing in the direction of his uncle's house. All he said was, I never saw them. I never saw the location of the boot prints. I never saw the blanket in the tree. And then the turkey guy just went off on a tangent and stopped that conversation completely. So I think that either Ron's house or Earl's house is extremely significant in this case. And I think Daniel doesn't want us looking in that direction. If that piece of blanket wasn't planted...
Yeah, that's such a strong point too, and worth noting, Darlene. Ninchi also had a video where she was talking about a huge oil stain in Janie's yard. And you could see that from the drone shots. Like, there is a vehicle sitting there by the other one that was off towards the bank, towards the side, that isn't there, hasn't been back since, with big oil stain underneath. And then there's the advertisement that Durwood had up. Was it Kia? For $1,500, talking about the thing might need a new engine, but we got some papers to back this bad boy up. With a little help from Kent, his garage. His in parentheses garage. His Stacy Wanderlake business. Ninchi also had a video showing a huge stain in Janie's yard. Could be where the black sedan used to sit until that night. Might need a new engine. The fucking thing idles at 6,500 RPM all the time. That would be loud. The pieces are coming together all right, Osprey. The missing children, the black house, 5-speed. What are you talking about, the black house? People are saying that Durwood's staying there. Maybe Kent's even staying there. Is this just people in my chat spreading rumors? Maybe, I don't know. Let me know. Talk to me about it. What is it you know? Could you imagine if Kent's in there? The pieces are coming together. The missing children, black house, 5-speed blown up car, 5-speed burnt down garage, Durwood scrapyard, and excavator. Just an excavator business, etc. Just as an excavating business as well. Ooh, competition. Oh yeah, Donsor. Did I see Daniel doubting my statement analysis skills on Facebook last night? Not at all. I don't even go on Facebook. But it's great for the shout out. That's great advertising. We should go over and see that stupid cock right now. Here, let me flip over. It was something we wanted to talk about.
And like I said, I don't believe it was. Then it leads us straight towards two properties connected very, very closely to 1407 Gerlock Road. And how much time and effort has Daniel put into trying to convince people that that piece of blanket was planted? That it didn't get there accidentally? And why would you need to do that other than if that piece of blanket was pointing to a location that you didn't want people to look at. We know that Janie was back and forth on the phone with her brother the morning that the children were reported missing. We know that Earl Martell was extremely aggressive with Tint when he was just trying to fly a drone over the area. You saw in a video a few weeks ago that I did that Earl was selling his John Deere that he'd had for a very, very long time. But all of a sudden, it was on his driveway for sale. I showed you a screenshot from one of the early news articles where you can see Earl Martell at 1407 and heading into the house behind detectives. He might want to pretend that he's got nothing to do with this, but it seems like he has. And after the information came out about the witnesses with the cars, suddenly Earl pops up on Facebook with all these really, really defensive and possibly threatening messages. So I have questions for Daniel. Why did you suddenly become aggravated? Why, for the first time ever, did you suddenly have to talk over this turkey guy when he started talking about these things that were found pointing towards your uncle's property, the property that's right next door to your father's property? Why are you trying to avoid any discussion of your vehicle? Why do we have no idea where your vehicle is? Why are you attacking Brad and Justin so heavily? Why are you trying to convince people that Hayley Ferdinand planted that piece of blanket? What's the real story? And I guess we could probably add into that. Why is Logan McKenzie, Ron's daughter, so heavily invested in this case? So I know there was a little bit of speculation towards the end, something that I don't normally do quite so much, but certainly there's a lot of questions here, questions that need to be answered. And I do plan on putting together a video in the future where I do a focus on...
Just fantastic, Ninchi. Thanks for telling us and reminding us just how much of a douchebag Kent is. Now, friends, this ridiculous little part sticks out in my mind about the interview after the cadaver dogs went through. He's got a 36-second defense. The word-for-word exchange from the new CBC transcript, I uploaded it and see it said, had Grok break it down. The handler, off camera, mentioned to Daniel Thursday night into Friday morning, essentially, something along the lines of something happened to the kids, didn't it, Daniel? Daniel's response to him, according to him in this interview, is Thursday was just an ordinary day until I woke up Friday morning. There was nothing detailed that needed to be remembered until Friday morning. The reporter said and asked, excuse me, so he was saying your story isn't matching up. That's exactly what he's saying. In other words, Daniel said, yeah. He said Thursday didn't have enough details. And we think you did something to the kids Thursday night. I said, I just ran through this whole Thursday and Wednesday with you. We spent 20 minutes talking. There's not enough detail because I thought it was an ordinary day. He doesn't know any details of the case. So how can he try to force something on me? That's the entire argument Daniel is banking on here. So firstly, why this defense crumbles, there's 4 points. So Daniel, he did give police a detailed Thursday timeline in that sense. On May 2nd, 9:11 a.m., the 911 call But that was 10:01 a.m., excuse me. That's a typo. The quote is, I put the kids to bed around 8:30. I went to bed fairly early. I didn't wake up till it was light. That is the detail. The handler is simply quoting Daniel's own words back to him in that sense. So before the handler, the RCMP officer, the dog handler came into the scenario, he already knew about the neighbor's reports. Even before, really, Daniel would have. Officially, through the paperwork type of thing. So there's Justin Smith's statement on May 8th and Brad's on May 9th. Both say Daniel's loud car left 14:07 4 times between 12:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. The handler is not forcing anything. He's testing the gap between I was asleep by 9 and my car was on the road at 3 a.m. So this statement about the ordinary day is a red flag, not the alibi. Normal parents remember the last night they tucked their children in. Daniel's answer is vague on purpose. Points are, what time is, quote, fairly early from Daniel? What time is light, exactly? And who locked the door? He's never answered these 3 questions over the course of these 5 months. So, finally, he accuses the dog handler of not knowing the case. The dog handler said, I've only seen you on the news once. So that's a classic deflection. The handler does not need to read every Facebook post. He only needs the 2 witness statements and Daniel's own 911 call, and he had both. Daniel claims the handler has no details to accuse him, but the handler is holding Daniel's own 911 timeline in one hand and 2 neighbors who heard his car at 3 a.m. in the other. So the only thing missing is Daniel's answer to what really happened after 8:30 p.m. That's the flaw.
He said your Thursday and all the way leading into Friday morning, there's not enough detail. And I said to him that Thursday was just an ordinary day until I woke up on Friday morning. And that's when life changed. There was nothing like life changing on Thursday. It was a normal day. So therefore, there was nothing detailed that needed to be remembered that day until Friday morning.
So he was mentioning something along the lines of something happened Thursday night.
Yeah.
Right, because normally in any investigation, they don't give a crap about the hours and minutes leading up to the moment that you called them. Oh my God, that's so desperate. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Man, there's no way he's that stupid. You know, he's being overly vague and almost ignorant on purpose. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There is nothing important to remember. Therefore, I don't need to give you an answer. That's not going to fly with any detective anywhere. Man, oh man. It's a sensitivity area, all right.
Your story isn't matching up?
Yeah, well, not just matching, it didn't have enough detail for him, personally. And then that's when I asked him, do you know anything on the case? And he said, not really. I've seen you on the news once. And that kind of alarmed me, or, shocking, because you're having somebody that's trying to get you to admit to something and they don't know any details. So therefore, my Thursday didn't have any details. Your knowledge of the case didn't have any details. So you shouldn't try to...
He's really saying, you don't know anything because I have all of the information and I haven't said anything about Thursday. Therefore, you shouldn't be accusing me because you don't know anything more than me and I know everything about this situation. He's forgetting where he should be standing in accordance to culpability in all of this. Man. Therefore, all these hands all over the place. He's desperately reaching. What it is he's desperately asking you with these upward palms to believe him. Oh, I'm here. All I wanted to do, everybody, is help. All I ever wanted to do was just be so honest about everything and help. Look at how much I'm helping. Thanks, Kent.
Force something on me without knowing any of the background.
Did he make any accusations at you?
Yeah, he did. He said that Thursday didn't have enough details, and we think you did something to the kids Thursday night. And I asked him, like, what are you talking about? Like, I just ran through whole Thursday and Wednesday with you. Like, we just spent the last 20 minutes talking, and there's not enough.
Man, I really hope that this liar, this compulsive liar in this circumstance, is telling the truth this time about what the cops said, because that would let us know that those cops aren't as stupid as a lot of people like to go on about in people's comments section. There's always a reason to blame cops, but now's not the time. Be plenty of time to hand out after all of this is put to bed. Time for arguing is in the courtroom. I can't wait till the perp walk. How do you guys envision Janie's perp walk to look? Let me know in the comments section afterwards. What do you think old Durwood O'Grady's perp walk is going to look like? Because you know they'll have enough money in the budget for that. Wonder if they're going to put them in the same cruiser, or they'll separate them. They'll separate them, put them in different cruisers. That day will be coming. They'll have no other alternative than to drive down to Old Garlock Road, pull in, and ask Daniel to kindly turn around and put his hands behind his back as I slip these bracelets on you. I'll put them on nice and loose, as long as you cooperate. Janie, is she going to go out by taser? She's going to have to be hogtied and perp strutted out in front of everybody and tossed into the back, and we're going to get some fantastic body camera footage from that all over the internet. She'll be screaming bloody murder. Yes. Yeah, she's not going to go quietly. She's a hermit. Of course, everybody's making them look bad. It'll probably be Justin over at Clutch Them Pearl's fault, right, Durwood? The whole reason nobody believes you has to be somebody else's fault. Has to be all the negativity that they're speaking about you. All the hate speech. Hate speech. Oh, we love laughing at your nonsense, Durwood. That's funny. Oh, Durwood. Oh, Darren Geddes. Are you living in that black house? I wonder who's living in that black house that's owned by a Geddes. Old Darren has really been reluctant to talk about where exactly he's from and how he's related to everything. So much deception early on. Destroyed you, the trust. Destroyed your credibility.
Detail because I thought it was an ordinary day. In the end, like, cadaver dogs were there, they went through, and the story continues. In conclusion to all this, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm still helping investigators at every turn we could possibly think of.
How many turns can we possibly think there are? How many turns do you think that there are? It doesn't matter. We've got it covered. Man. He's really desperate to get away with this, isn't he? Oh, I don't know why you're taking credit for coming up with any theories. I think you're misunderstanding Nietzsche, maybe, Darlene. Hold on for a moment. Nietzsche likes her facts in that sense, like no different than Mike. It's that people often don't hear the disclaimer or the fact that somebody's talking about more of a theory in a certain sense. Although she does a good job about it, I thought. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. The conclusion, Danny boy, is they're going to let you take the fall. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls apart. I already heard, and this could be just rumors or maybe it's intentional. Don't know, about Durwood and Daniel having a falling out, some sort of disagreement. I don't know how much of it's true. Just word on the street. I don't know where they would get that feeling from. Durwood likes to get all fucked up on booze. You know how he gets. After they are arrested, who's going to flip first? Janie. Well, believe me, that'll come quick. Oh, that'll come quick. That's a good question, Anita. It's going to depend on how many people they take in for it, because there's definitely a big conspiracy after the fact to get away with something. It's just figuring out what and why. We know kind of the end goal and where this is leading, but I wish that we had access to all of the information and the investigative information that the RCMP have. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Silver. I don't know what the hell you're referring to. Janie will defend her boy to the death. You think, Ruby? Maybe. She's already stated that in interviews, as though that was, some foresight. She was seeing that coming down the line, having the need to defend her boys to the death. Old Ma Barker, old Janie McKenzie. I think, what's really funny when you sit back and you look at that RV that she was in the driveway? What cracks me up is that they abandoned even it being an RV in the first place, something rolling. That they went as far as to cut boards up that fit in to make it flush with the ground in the undercarriage, to cover up the undercarriage. As if you spent time and did that. Oh, now it looks so much better. Oh my God, it's just so much more of a cozy little spot. Why don't you just put boards over the entire thing and cut out the windows? Maybe just doing it with scrap wood, who knows? I thought it was interesting. Maybe it was just to hold back a lot of maybe the dirt that was coming down the hill from the rain over time. But it still fit in as though it was like a flush exterior, or it made it look more like a trailer or cottage. Gave it more of a homely feel. I guess it's better than rusting, but just thought it was an interesting what they spend their time on doing around little chores around the house outside. They're putting those little glow in the dark solar lights on the parts of the thank you very much, sweet tea. Parts of the fence that they put up. Oh my God, geez, it's just such a beautiful, cozy little place now. It's cool that you made the effort. Like, respect. But it's just so fucking bizarre to look at. She's not going down. No, she's not impoverished. She's living high on the hog out there. Like, it's an inconvenience that she's out there living in a fucking vehicle that doesn't run. Okay, that's what homeless people do on the side of the road. She's doing it for her boy, Daniel, and his new girl. Listening, Sweet Tea says, listening and finishing up dinner. Much love to you and Charity. Bear, thank you, Sweet Tea. Thank you very much. It's very generous of you, darling. Much love for all of your support over time. One of the OGs here. Like, Janie being in that RV had to have been a real factor about the climate around the place on Garlock Road, over the previous 2 years. They're there about 2 years, a little bit longer. As she went in, she found out, according to Malaya, she acknowledged the fact that she only found out about Daniel's addiction the day before she was going to be induced with Meadow. So it gives you a bit of a timeline. And that's from her. That's just what she's stating. So it was an accident waiting to happen, more or less. Something was going to happen, and it wasn't going... your drug addiction, guys, it wasn't going to bring you guys closer together. It wasn't going to do anything for your relationship. No matter how much you wanted it to, no matter how much you wanted to keep it away or on the down low or under control, it's not going to be a positive step forward in this new family. It was contributing to the negative aspects of your life and holding you back in that sense. You know this. It's not like that's big news, but that's just the reality of the situation. Thank you very much, Maine. That's a very generous $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Make sure that you go over and check out Ninchi, and I know you will. And Mike Demand. So shit flows downhill in that sense. Meaning the hierarchy, the pecking order around Garlock Road. There was always an air that Janie was doing this family a favor in that sense, which was putting added pressure on because of the economic situation and other factors weighing in on the relationship. Janie was an ever omnipresent individual in that she could have been the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. You can tell through her language that she might be overbearing. And she gives it away accidentally. And she has over time. There's already, as you should know, there's already all kinds of audio out there from Janie interviews. Another thing I heard too is this must have been over at Justin's, something that Lori Green didn't like. They're talking about Justin is in contact with somebody in the know in the background, and Malaya's out, gallivanting around. You know what I'm talking about? Partying it up, getting drunk and high, dancing, carrying on, getting down, getting jiggy with it, with some new dude. And, the cycle begins again. Like whatever was going on with Cody that she needed to get away from, she used Daniel as her Band-Aid. Daniel got her knocked up. Great. Grand. Wonderful. Daniel's preoccupied with his addiction during that whole birth and early childhood. Like that had to have been really difficult. Like there's no possible way that you're even around for Meadow. In fact, you come across like you're not actually really contributing, that the roles that you're assigning people through your language is really discombobulated and non-existent because you're not representing it at all or very well. You're saying that, have stated that Malaya was so overprotective of Meadow, she wouldn't allow anybody else around her. Who knows what's true in that sense? But you're using that somehow as an excuse against Malaya as to why the kids were really neglected, and you're identifying in your language that the kids were neglected, and you're admitting to it, and that was somehow Malaya's fault in all of this because she wasn't living up to her duties around your house. That tells me that that somebody is putting unexpected or unrealistic expectations onto Malaya and really confusing your view of a healthy family in this circumstance. So it makes me wonder about, like, Janie doesn't have a real problem about telling us how poor of a parent she believes Malaya was, and how else would she get that in her mind if she didn't experience it firsthand for herself? And that's her opinion. Did she do much to really contribute to making Malaya, putting her at ease in that environment? Or was that just a perspective thing? Like, it seemed to be that it's more on the side from the way that she tells it, as though, Janie's right there ready to gang up and, let Malaya have it over the phone from 25 feet away about the kids being outside, rather than actually doing the human thing or the kind, caring thing and being a positive influence on the kids' lives and going out there and engaging with them if there really is something wrong. And I still have a hard time believing or identifying what it is that the kids were doing wrong that made you call them in the first place. They didn't have their coat or boots on. Well, really, big deal. What is it you're actually saying? That the kids were outside and they shouldn't be? That they were out there getting into something that was going to hurt them? Like, what was it you were saying? Is it kids? Why is it you put that on them is my point. It's like, listen, kids never put coats on and boots on. And why is that actually a thing that you're bringing up? Like, why does that stick out to in her mind at that point in time? And why does she hold it against the children? And especially against Malaya? Like, even if that was happening, I couldn't even see me saying something. Like, it's not like they're showing up at school not clothed. Then that was brought up about how the kids were coming to school and not dressed for the weather type of thing. That concern was brought up, allegedly, we'll say. So why is it that they're putting that off onto Malaya at that point in time? Maybe it's just the easiest thing to do. But from the perspective of this step-grandmother, we'll call her, that she's been labeled for the sake of this Jack and Lily investigation, she didn't act as though. So it seems to me that they found any reason probably to pick on Malaya and the kids and impact the relationship in a negative manner regardless. And their scapegoat was Malaya in the sense. I mean, Janie admittedly moved out to the RV because she couldn't handle the high-paced nature. In other words, you should never speak for her, but I'm putting that in there. She used a term, I think, because of the noise and inferred things. So make sure you remember that. I'm just saying because she couldn't handle the high-paced nature, she didn't want to for whatever reason. Maybe that was in the plan as they moved. I don't know. We don't know all the details, or we're relying on them to inform us on them. People who have reason to lie or disinform or omit. You think so, Enoch? That could be a possibility, that no woman is good enough for Janie's son. You definitely get the impression that she cares immensely for Daniel. It's bizarre, really. You think that, fuck, my parents don't love me that much. Like, it's almost unreasonable, but there's a reason for it, and we can see what that is. Listen, no matter what, Jack and Lily were last seen, we think, at this property. These are the individuals, the people that were put in charge to care for Jack and Lily, and they don't want to come straight and talk about the importance of the last moments leading up to the time that they called the RCMP. You don't think that that is a major red flag, a real problem? That's just so obvious. People just overlook it and look for the tiny details now. Like, think about all the things we take for granted about the level of deception that's going on here and how that may relate, in spite of any clear one theory at this point than anything else. And by all means, they indicate that there is a case building against the individuals that feel the need to be up here in front of the CBC defending their own innocence in light of wherever Jack and Lily are at this point in time. Far ahead of the curve. Maybe Daniel's just living that lifestyle where he's used and relies on old lies and ongoing lies that he's got to maintain for those in his own family. So they're already well conditioned and brainwashed into believing that whatever comes out of his mouth. It's plausible at this point in time with this relation between Durwood, Daniel, and Kent that Ninchi's theory is probably a lot more accurate than she's wanting people to believe. Because we don't have direct evidence to suggest that. You just can see the relation at this point in time from afar. And people, granted, have seen that since the get-go. Oh yeah, Danny Boy is out there. Danny Boy's out there spreading his own brand of rumors, Nick. No shit, no doubt. Is Janie missing a finger? I don't know. I never noticed. I didn't think so. I didn't notice. I wonder what this it is that old Durwood's trying to fix, and Daniel, oh, they're all working together in the background trying to straighten all of this out, fix all of this. My audio's breaking up, Esther? No, say it ain't so.
And hopefully we see some kind of resolution soon, or some kind of outcome that's positive.
How's that communication in your relationship with RCMP now, 5 months later, and then given that interaction a few weeks ago?
At this point, I go to them. They don't ever come to me. It's just like I have to contact them, I have to go to them, and it's been like that for a little while now because I've given them so many leads and there's only so much I can do. I was told not to pursue any leads, so I'm not the one who's going to be going out there investigating.
Why do you pursue leads? Because you're still out there talking to people and finding out new details.
By pursuing leads, they mean if I have a lead, I don't track it down in person. But yeah, I'm still open to talk to the public. I have no fake accounts. I don't have anything that would be not under my name. Like I go fully into every comment with my name present. So I have nothing to hide. People are free to message me whenever, and people are free to discuss anything they want with me. Any angle.
I think it might, Sweet Tea, it might be the mic from the recording because there's only one bar, so one side of your, like, it'll be coming in from the left or the right side. I can't tell, but I think it's probably the recording and his mic setup. Why it sounds like that. So you're saying, Brenda, my audio is doing some weird things again?
Any perspective that they have, I'm open to it. And I will pass it along to investigators if it's a solid perspective. Every tip matters. All 800 and almost 900 of them matter.
Do you find that engaging helps for you?
It doesn't help me mentally, that's for sure, but I still do it. I'm basically desensitized to all judgment at this point, so if anybody has anything, you can just come to me, or you can go to Major Crimes, you can go to your local police department, they'll pass along tips, or Crime Stoppers. Because this whole situation has drug on for way too long, and it's absolutely destroying everyone involved.
So what does this tell you now that the cadaver dogs were in, they didn't find anything? Do you think, like, the part on the woods, do you think that's case closed?
It should be case closed. It should have been case closed from the very start. Because with the amount of resources and technology and amount of searchers and everyone deployed in that first initial search, that was a lot. That was.
Can you imagine? They're swinging him. They're playing with him and fix my sound. What, my sound's bad again? It's got to be something with Streamlabs. My mic hasn't changed. Nothing's really changed. Oh, okay, I'm good. All right. It might be. I'm only coming out of like one side too. Hold on. What the hell is going on here? I might see what you're talking about. Maybe it is only one bar. It's not a double. Huh. I don't know. Fucking audio sometimes. Sounds good, CJ? Okay. Well, I'll pretend it's good. Can you imagine Daniel sitting in a situation wanting anything to be case closed when your concern should be primarily for the children who were otherwise missing? So he's always putting himself in a position where whatever the police are doing are somehow attributed to his innocence. And he twists things in order to make it look like that way, in light of even any sort of concern for Jack and Lily Sullivan. Like, it's just so obvious. It's disgusting. It's like he can't help but twist even the question. Like, you have the choice of what it is that you're going to say. Misrepresenting what things actually are, especially in the process of this investigation.
8 kilometer radius outwards, and it's just the amount of money and people's time, injuries that were sustained during that. It's
not worth going on any
people
further.
Should have just opened their eyes to see that we need to look elsewhere. I pointed many fingers.
He works extra hard to talk around what it is that he is trying to say. He's trying to get you to fill in the blanks. He's inferring, avoiding. He's working hard at it. He says over and over again about how people need to turn their speculation outwards because everything that the police have done recently somehow equate to him being innocent of any wrongdoing. Then they'll get specific about unaliving and burying the kids on their property specific. Ain't nobody suggested that except them. They don't even want to acknowledge in an honest manner the legitimate scrutiny or suspicion that they're really under. They want to capture that focus and divert it off onto something that's manufactured and more rumor-based than anything, as opposed to actually acknowledging and recognizing just how little to absolutely no timeline that they've contributed to the moments leading up to these kids going missing. Now, you don't think that one thing has to do with the other there, Daniel? Every time. You're sitting up here justifying some sort of a flawed logic on the CBC over why you don't still to this day, 5 months later, have a timeline together for your moments and the family moments leading up to what was so earth-changing in your language. Because it's not important somehow. It wasn't worth remembering. That's really suggestive. It's not worth remembering, everybody. You're talking about the moments just before the kids disappeared. Allegedly. Nothing to see here. You smell his fingers, Silver Gold. Dirty bastard. Taking all this shit about narcissists, but the morons don't realize them, says Mr. Hemi, running around claiming they are gifted. It's pretty damn narcissistic. Oh, well, think about all of the psychic mediums on YouTube. Those are funny narcissists because they really believe in some of the shit that they put out. Oh, hold on, let me check my tarot cards. I'll check my spirit box. Fuck, the spirit box is even throwing this son of a bitch under the bus. Let's see. That reporter gets further and further away, Osprey says, from him. I guess I would too if he's only washes his clothes every 6 weeks. He's dressing down. It's just killing it. It's destroying him. He admitted it. Listen, you guys got to take your suspicions and go elsewhere with them. Don't look here. We're not guilty of anything. Go take your suspicions elsewhere. Yeah. We'll do that as soon as you provide a verifiable timeline of the hours leading up to Jack and Lily's reported call to the RCMP. Janie, well, 20 minutes. The kids have only been gone 20 minutes. The psychics are fighting over this case right now, Bonnie says. Are they? That's who's out there spreading all of this information on Tind, I think.
And I think that's where the people should look.
Not here.
Not here. Not in the woods. If fingers have been pointed, let's start taking a look.
What's going through your mind as you see their picture every day still?
Is this heartbreaking to know that 5 months of...
I like that comment. That's an interesting one. The fingers have been pointed. Let's take a look. Yeah, he's on to the next level, of deflection. You guys need to go and search Malaya. I pointed my fingers. My God. Again, he just can't help sitting there signaling to all of us just how much guilty knowledge he's holding in that sense. Man. He can't help it. An innocent person wouldn't have the need to be pointing fingers or anything of the sort in this circumstance. And putting himself in a position of protecting any sort of information, the sheer desperation that should be is the desperation over finding Jack and Lily at any one point in time. Watching that picture from CTV News of Malaya sitting on the back deck, she, even though it's a still photo, holy mackerel, man. Like, the look on her face says that something traumatic has just happened. And it has nothing to do with her report of just the kids walking out on their own volition 20 minutes ago. I think that the reasons for her silence are probably going to be the traditional reasons in this circumstance when we get to know further down the line about their ill relationship and the problems. And it would only make sense that an immature personality or emotionally a person in her emotional state would act in such a bizarre manner. Now everybody's talking about getting bad vibes from her because of her party habits, out with friends in that sense. She's easily influenced. She's got that pink-haired psychic friend, that weirdo that uses too much makeup, that has the witch hook nose. Well, what's her name? Not that she's ugly. I'm not saying she's fugly in that sense. She just has a very distinct look to her. She looks like, well, it doesn't matter. Everybody needs somebody. But Jesus. Duper's Delight all over her face. What was her name? Cheryl Robinson, is that her name? Cheryl. That's the individual that's probably influencing her in such a negative manner. She's walking around the level of narcissist she is. She's the one walking around claiming that she's a psychic. She's pink-haired, psychic beach friend, remember? Selfie that she posted with Malaya on Facebook at this point in time with her children in the state that she is. Like, there better be some weird reason that she took and posted that photo that probably doesn't exist. Like, that's how you can tell that she's a poor influence. in contrast with Daniel, it's probably night and day. It's probably a major move and step up. Explore Core. Wait, what? Cheryl is a psychic? I think that's what people were referring to. I don't know if that is how she describes herself or how other people were describing her, but there's something to that. Psychic or psycho, Mr. Hemmy can't decide. She couldn't help but hold back her duper's delight when Malaya's sister was being interviewed. The somewhat reasonable one in all of this. Haley Ferdinand. God bless her. Who, by the way, is also a nurse. Not that all nurses are just fantastic people, but it's a step in the right direction. She'd have the ability to recognize certain things. And Mike Damon is right. There's a lot that they're holding back. You don't have to expect everybody to pour out and spill all the tea and the personal tea about the people in their lives. Who wants to be in that position? So don't hold it against them necessarily that they don't come out and say certain things. No, Silver, who the F are you? Like it or not, no matter what's happened, and we would be putting ourselves far ahead of the game if we were to impose that judgment somehow upon Malaya, even at this point in time. We don't have enough information to make any sort of determination. It doesn't look very good. And she's violating the number one rule in an investigation like this. We don't have to worry about the RCMP missing that one. The silence speaks volumes. It speaks to everything. If you're to expect the RCMP is going to just carry on as though that you wanted this little story of yours portrayed to the public, meaning about the kids just voluntarily walking away. That was the pink-haired psychic friend, Esther. Who was the lady next to Haley at Jack's vigil? The one that was holding back that laughter? You're probably going to give her some sort of complex at this point. We don't want to overdo it, of course. I'm sure she's could be a lovely person, but she's a terrible influence on Malaya at this point in time, I've got a feeling. She doesn't have any business going out, focusing on getting dick. No, it wasn't Logan. It was Cheryl Robinson. Logan, holy Hannah. Logan, remember Logan and her sock accounts used to go over and compare how skinny she was in comparison to Malaya under people's comments up on Facebook all of the time. It was a little obvious that Logan has a real burr up her ass for Malaya. Jealous, and it stems from catty jealousy. You know how some women get, especially backwoods redneck hillbilly inbred women. That's some new punani in the house. There's they're taking all kinds of attention away from what they would otherwise deem as their own sanctity, their own part of the attention tree, the pie. And Daniel, like, Malaya was a pretty girl. It's not like she's hideous by any stretch of the imagination. She looks she looks like she's rode hard and put away wet, some would say, in some backwoods bar. But that's because of what we would think and suspect would be the substances she's hopefully drying out from. But she's not an ugly person in that sense, so you could see where a person like Daniel would be really scoring in that circumstance, and quite possibly became a little bit fixated and obsessed with having such, having, in comparison to the rest or his usual set of girlfriends, maybe a step up a little bit more to scale. She was his trophy wife, his trophy gal. Well, look at the guy's high on fucking math, dude. He's gonna be really exaggerating inside his mind. Fantasy will be taking over. But a reason to obsess over her and become otherwise a tyrant in the bedroom. Going through all of these weird sort of satanic rituals with Janie around that statue on the kitty litter box. I'm speculating, of course.
The past, and school started, the summer ended. Like, this should be a chance for kids.
There's a couple
to
of Kent's bracelets right there,
be
I bet.
interacting and doing kid things, enjoying their lives as kids. You know, like, it's not just all the kids that miss them from school and community, and, you know, at this point the whole country that, you know they're missing. It's just like I have kids too that know.
Do you think that these two liars are the types of individuals that would have been giving and trying to control Jack and Lily with substances in that sense in order to alter their normal state of being, in order to attempt to control them? I'm not saying that I'm just asking if you think they're the types of people. I don't think that happened. I think that this is far worse when it comes to Daniel having some sort of violent outburst and the escalation of the conflict that was already occurring within the home. Eventually, something's going to break when you don't have any money. You don't have nothing coming in. Things aren't getting better. You're still high AF coming home, not contributing to the family. You're doing all of this nonsense. Your overbearing old lady is so far up our ass, it's affecting Malaya's mental health to the point of having to call an ambulance in order to deliver her to the psych ward. You couldn't even drive her. So it tells me that you guys were probably in conflict, that she had to go around you, call 911, and take herself off the premises, and you're calling it a panic attack. Doesn't fit. It doesn't fit that you have an excuse every time that the kids have black eyes. You put the blame back on them as though they are somehow clumsy. It's cliche, man. Kitty Hawk AB, notice the bracelets or the exact colors of the t-shirts that were found. Good eye, if that's true. Brandy Lindy. I don't think Charmaine even ever got her bracelets last I know. Hey, you guys stop talking poorly about Kent. Oh, Kent. What a tool. What a weirdo. Stranger danger. That guy gives me stranger danger vibes. Ironically, Daniel has now had 2 women end up in the psych ward. How do you know that, Big North Marty? He was the second one. It must have been another level of control around there. It's hard to believe that Janie might seem or grow to be controlling. Look about what she does to that dog. She really is, convinced herself that having that dog in that RV is a good thing. Maybe all of these things are just to fool the dog into thinking that it's somehow a house. There's no way that Janie was cool with giving up her trailer and moving out into the driveway into an RV. What brought it to the point? Don't expect them to ever give us the answer. But what brought it to the point of her having to move? Answer right, Osprey. His ex-new girlfriend. Yeah, we'll call her Malaya, okay? Malaya and the kids was the point of contention. Disrupting the chi over at Garlock Road. The chi, the energy was way off in there. And yeah, it was generous on Janie's behalf. And ever since she moved out there, she probably talked Daniel into spending an exorbitant amount of time away from Malaya to appease her and have him start building these stupid ass fences to make it feel even more like home for her and less like living homeless, broken down in a goddamn driveway. So naturally, she's already guilt-tripping Daniel into just taking time away from his familial duties and spending it to appease and get Janie. So already there's some disruption in the flow. Oh, hey, Charmaine, good to see you. You're still waiting for your bracelets? LOL, I smell a civil claim coming over $40 because I'm petty and I'm done with this drama. I'm gonna have to start a poll up on my posts and canvass the YouTube community to see just how many of you out there have paid and are still waiting for these bracelets of Kent's. That's a funny idea, but I don't want to distract too much. Coop, you're saying Janie's in the same outfit, Kent and Derpwood in the same Timu outfits?
Oh, that they're missing too. And like, that's heartbreaking for them. Like, Meadow doesn't understand, but one day she will. And she knows that Dad spoke up for Jack and Lily when no one else would.
So why is it, do you think Daniel has to place himself in a special position over everybody else in all of this, claiming that nobody out there is speaking up for Jack and Lily? You're out there and literally the only person doing anything positive, trying to bring these kids home. Now, what are those things exactly? These are things that you brought up and you're using and you, as the closer on the CBC interview. What exactly are those things, Danny boy? Uncooperative witness, my friends. Hold on. An hour and 43 minutes. All right, y'all. I'm going to see you guys all back tomorrow. Make sure that you go over and check out the link that I posted to the top. We talked a little bit about it when we shit talk Kent. And yeah, keep up the good work. It's finally progressing in the sense that it's making a lot more sense about that particular night. If that Mr. Wong, that statement that I read, this one here, before we go. It should be up here. One moment, please. Not that one. What happened to it? Oh, okay, we'll go back here and do it then. That one. If that Mr. Wong in that statement would indicate, and if that's correct, that, you know, he identified 2 different vehicles being used that night. Ken, it's not looking very good because the only piece seems to lead back to Kent and Durwood and this little scheme and this little this cooperative you guys got going on, this little circle jerk. Store it back in the backs of your minds for now, my friends. All right, guys, I'll see you in tomorrow morning. Peace. Trying to leave you with a little G-funk, but I can't hear it.